Today at 5, understanding new age seniors at a Grey Matters conference. Plus, online voting, why election officials don't believe it'll boost voting numbers. And new beginnings. How a new mentorship program on the Piikani First Nation is changing the future of their youth.
CTV News with Jackie Scantlebury.
Good afternoon. Canada is now home to more than 35 million people, and Alberta is leading the way. Our province grew by 3.4%, nearly 3 times the national rate. Now, Canada grew by more than 400,000 people last year. That's the same rate as the year before. Nunavut and Saskatchewan also grew at a faster rate than the rest of the country. Nova Scotia, though, actually saw its population decline. Alberta led the pack, attracting people from the rest of Canada and around the world. Our population is up 3.5% due to record levels of international migration and people arriving from other countries and other provinces. For the first time, though, Alberta's population has topped the 4 million people mark. Statistics Canada says as of July 1st, the number of people living in our province has reached 4,025,074. Now, by 2030, Alberta will have double the amount of senior citizens that we have now. So how do we continue to care and support the aging population? A 2-day conference is underway in Lethbridge to address the very issue. Jeanette Rocher has more.
What we're going to be talking about throughout the conference.
It was record attendance inside Lethbridge Lodge. Over 300 participants came together from across the province to address the growing need of a growing demographic.
Elder abuse is one of the issues.
Healthcare.
Help in understanding the aging process.
Grey Matters is an annual provincial conference, but this year, Lethbridge Senior Centre and Alberta Health Services brought the conference to Lethbridge for the first time.
The biggest issue facing our senior centres is how are we going to face the onslaught of the boomers that are coming? Because as we go along, there'll be more and more of the senior population.
As a government, we focus a lot on trying to help seniors stay independent as long as possible, and we're having great success with that.
Health Minister Fred Horn recently funded a $70,000 study through the University of Alberta to research the changing needs of the 400 senior centres province-wide.
So we're looking at what is the current state as well as what is the future of senior centers for people who are now 45 and then 55 and 65. Are they going to need to look different?
We're dealing with a new age senior today. The seniors we're dealing with today are younger seniors, very mobile, very active.
Guest speakers addressed issues of elderly abuse, healthcare, retirement planning, and seniors in the workforce. Barbara Jaworski founded the Workplace Institute and says boomers and seniors are putting off retirement later and later in life. In fact, a third of new businesses are being developed by baby boomers.
Workforce practices need to change, and that baby boomers, or kaboomers as I call them, have an awful lot to offer.
A lot to offer while facing a lot of challenges. The aging population is now carrying more debt than ever before and is at a greater risk of bankruptcy while still caring for kids, grandkids, and elderly parents. Jeanette Rocher, CTV News, Lethbridge.
The Grey Matters Conference continues Friday with special guest Lloyd Robertson. Registration is at 7 a.m. Now, speaking of seniors' care, tomorrow is the deadline the province gave itself to release results of a government investigation of mice biting a dementia patient's face at a Lethbridge care facility. On September the 9th, Friends of Medicare claimed a woman living in the dementia unit of the St. Therese Villa had been bitten by mice. The owners, Covenant Health, denies the allegations. 3 employees were suspended with pay. It was just a matter of time, Dory. Frost on the way tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. We get down to those minus values. We have a chance of that patchy frost tonight. There's other areas of the country that are in frost warning criteria, and that would be New Brunswick. We'll tell you all those details coming up in a couple of minutes.
All right. Thank you, Dory. Two men charged in connection with a fatal beating last February in Lethbridge are now facing reduced charges. During a brief court appearance, the Crown dropped manslaughter charges against 61-year-old Randall Ostby and his 28-year-old son Scott. Court was told the coroner's findings didn't support the charges of manslaughter. They've been replaced, though, with charges of aggravated assault. The two men were charged after 63-year-old Barry Peltier was attacked while walking along 2nd Avenue South on February the 16th. He died 4 days later in hospital. Both Ostbys have been released from custody pending the outcome of the case. They are subject to a curfew and other conditions. The matter has been adjourned to October the 18th. 15-year-old girl is in serious but stable condition after being hit by a pickup truck while riding her bike in Tabor. Happened around 9:30 last night at the intersection of 52nd Street and 56th Avenue. An RCMP reconstructionist was brought in to help. The girl allegedly rode her bike through a yield sign and was hit by the pickup that had the right-of-way. The girl was airlifted to Calgary Hospital. The 63-year-old driver of the truck was arrested, though, and charged with refusing to provide a breath sample. The man's name has not been released. He'll appear in court October the 8th. The Lethbridge Collision Reporting Center may have started out as a pilot project. It's been such a huge success, though, it's been given a 10-year contract. The center opened on September the 13th of last year in the hopes of freeing up officers from crash sites to deal with other calls. Lethbridge Accident Support Services runs the center. It reports over the last year they've helped close to 3,000 people complete their accident reports. The Collision Reporting Center is funded by insurers, so there's no cost to the police service or taxpayers. It's located inside the police station and is open from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. on weekdays and on Saturday as well. Most Canadians are familiar with Facebook, iPhones, and apps, but election technology hasn't been keeping up with the times. Internet voting isn't an option in Lethbridge or any other Alberta community in the upcoming civic election, even though many people think it should be. Terry Vogt has more.
These students at Lethbridge College are used to working with technology. They think voting online makes sense.
You could do it at home anytime you wanted. People would probably attend it more. Just be quicker for them to do.
A lot of time people don't have the time to go out and vote and you forget to do it.
You would get more response if you were able to vote online. That's the way the world's going, right? Everything's internet access to information.
The world does seem to be going that way. Several years ago, Lethbridge city clerks visited Ontario, where they've been using internet voting for some time. It's also common in the United States and many European countries, but it's not allowed in Alberta yet.
Before any of the municipalities in Alberta can do internet voting, there is legislation requirement changes that will have to take place.
And that is being looked at. The Lethbridge returning officers took part in a pilot project organized by the City of Edmonton earlier this year.
So it was a good learning opportunity for us just to see how well it was going to be received by council, how well it would be received by the residents in Edmonton, and also just all of the issues around security.
Election officials point out internet voting doesn't replace the way we conduct elections now. It's just one more way for people to vote, like the advanced polls. Many candidates support it.
If a person is elderly and they have mobility issues, things like that, but they have access to the internet, it gives voters another way to express their opinions and go out and vote.
The more people we can get involved in voting, the better. And if we're going to try something like internet voting, I think we'd probably get some of the young folks involved.
You'd think it would get more younger people voting, but election officials say that's not borne out by the statistics.
Those that tend to use it are the baby boomer generation, those that are already voting, but it hasn't resulted in any significant change in the voting patterns where it's been in place.
While internet voting may not increase voter turnout, it does provide one more option. And many people, including local election officials, say that makes it worthwhile.
I think it's something that we really do need to be looking at for our electors here in Alberta for the future.
Terry Vogt, CTV News, Lethbridge.
The returning officers from Lethbridge and several other municipalities are urging the Municipal Affairs Department to form a committee to look at changing the rules and allowing online voting in the future. Well, over the summer, RCMP in the Piikani First Nation introduced a unique mentorship program working with youth in the community. And since its launch, youth crime on the reserve has decreased significantly. As Brendan Miller reports, the program might even produce rodeo's next top cowboy.
Meet 5-year-old Hunter Littlebear. With only a few weeks of sheep riding experience under his belt, he already dreams of becoming a rodeo star.
Being a bullfighter and open the chutes.
Hunter is part of a youth rodeo program introduced this summer to give children in the community an opportunity to live like a cowboy. Once a week, around 40 children on the Piikani Nation gather at the Crow Lodge Rodeo grounds. With the help of volunteers, they have the opportunity to learn and practice their skills in various rodeo events like barrel racing or sheep riding.
Well, they see how much fun it is. I mean, everybody gets to get, if they can't ride a horse by themselves, we got people, we're leading them around and getting them used to the horse.
I think it's an awesome thing for the kids to be able to know that this is something they can continue on with and they can be good at. And it's awesome to see them strive to be better.
The program is geared towards youth crime prevention and suicide prevention, and since it's been reintroduced this year, RCMP say they've seen significant results.
And I think it's a real benefit because these kids, a lot of them have been in trouble in the past. I've dealt with them, other policemen have dealt with them, and just to see them here and wanting to do something like that, that's a big bonus for us.
The opportunity is provided by a handful of volunteers who supply the horses and rodeo know-how.
It means a lot to be able to help a kid out and teach them how to do something different. And any kid that we can put a smile on and they're having fun is just a tremendous outcome.
It's been fantastic, and like I said before, if we benefit, if we have a world champion out of this program, then we succeed, and that's our goal.
This little cowboy would like to be a future world champion and knows just how to get it done.
Just stay on.
To stay on?
Yes. And to wear gloves next time and wear a vest this time.
Brendan Miller, CTV News on the Piikani Nation.
That is a world champion in the making. Coming up next in the markets, it was an unchanged day for $1. West Texas crude, though, did close lower.